Have you ever been with someone so incredibly calm, so steady, that you find yourself wondering, is this deep security or is this just kind of boring? It's one of the biggest paradoxes in love, isn't it? The very same person who gives you all this stability can also feel so frustratingly passive. So today, we are diving deep into the phlegmatic temperament. Are they the most boring partner you could ever imagine, or are they the most secure rock you could ever hope to build a life on? All right, let's get into it.
So right at the core of the phlegmatic partner is this two-sided coin. On one side, you've got the anchor. Your reliable port in any storm, the person who's always making peace and just keeps life feeling steady. But then, you flip that coin, and that same quality can feel like the wall. Suddenly, their calmness looks like passivity, their consistency feels like a stubborn resistance to change, and that emotional stability? Well, it can easily be mistaken for not having any feelings at all.
So, which one is it, the anchor or the wall? Well, the truth is, they're both. And really understanding why this temperament gets so misunderstood, that's the whole key to appreciating their incredible strengths and, navigating their very real challenges. If we look way back, even the ancient Greeks had a pretty clear picture of this type, and it lines up almost perfectly with what you see here. They're seen as calm, kind, observant, amazing, reliable people to have in your corner. But, and it's a huge but, that comes with the stuff on the other side of the ledger. A tendency towards laziness, a really deep-rooted resistance to change, and a kind of shyness that can just totally squash any outward sign of enthusiasm. The metaphor the ancients used for them is actually perfect. Water. Just think about it for a second. Water is calm. It just passively takes the shape of whatever container you put it in, it conforms. But have you ever tried to grab a handful of water? Or really try to stir up a deep, still lake? It's almost impossible. And that right there perfectly captures the phlegmatic soul. Super accommodating on the surface, but incredibly difficult to stir up emotionally. And this brings us to what is probably the single biggest point of friction when you're in a relationship with a phlegmatic: their absolute bone-deep hatred of conflict. For them, fighting isn't just, unpleasant. It feels like a genuine threat to their entire being. This right here? This is their internal motto, their prime directive. It's not just that they prefer things to be quiet. It's a powerful driving need to keep everything in balance all the time. But as we're about to see, paying any price for peace can end up costing the relationship a whole lot. Psychologically, this makes them what we call a conformal type. They would much rather just passively accept things as they are, make a few concessions, and give in during an argument, not because you've actually convinced them, but just to make the noise stop. Their whole goal is summed up in this incredible metaphor: the wolves are fed and the sheep are safe. They think they've created harmony by just giving the conflict what it wants, but all they've really done is quiet it down, for now. And this is where it gets dangerous, because when you choose quiet over truth, issues never actually get resolved. They just get buried. So the phlegmatic might look like they agree with you, but on the inside, they've just quit the fight. And over time, this can lead to this massive buildup of resentment and this feeling that nothing ever gets truly solved. Okay, so we've looked at the challenge, right? The deep frustration. But now we're going to pivot. We're going to reframe what looks like a major weakness into what might just be the phlegmatic's greatest superpower. We need to stop looking at their slowness as a flaw and start seeing it as a feature, as part of the design. I want you to just hold this question in your mind for a bit. The next time you feel that frustration building because your partner is reacting so slowly, just ask yourself, am I seeing laziness, or am I actually watching a deep form of loyalty in action? And look, this isn't just some poetic idea. This is actual physiology. Take a look at this table from the great scientist Ivan Pavlov. He mapped out 4 types of nervous systems. Now find the phlegmatic, yep, right there at the top. He described their system as strong, balanced, and inert. And that word, inert, is absolutely everything. It doesn't mean weak or lazy. It means having low mobility and being slow to change states. Their system isn't built for a quick sprint, it's built for a marathon. So here's the crucial thing to get. This inertia is the source of their incredible strength. It means they're capable of huge endurance. They can tolerate stress and really negative situations for a long time without breaking. And most importantly for a relationship, once they've committed to you, that inertia means they stay. Their slowness to change isn't a bug. It's the very thing that makes them so fiercely loyal, so patient, and so incredibly steadfast. Literature actually gives us a really powerful archetype for this. Solveig from the play Peer Gynt.
She waits patiently with this unwavering devotion for her wild, unreliable partner to come back. She's his secure base, his safe harbor that he knows will always be there. Her love is a constant, it's not a transaction. And that is the idealized superpower of the phlegmatic partner.
But what happens when you push this calm, inert system too far? How does a phlegmatic even fight? Well, they don't fight with fire and explosions. They fight with a weapon that can feel way more chilling. Silence. Because they are so terrified of a direct fight, their resistance tends to go underground. And this is the root of passive aggression. It's their indirect way of saying no. They might agree to do something, but then they stall. They might give in to what you want on the surface, but you can just feel that hidden resistance simmering underneath. It's really the weapon of choice for someone who feels like they just can't win in a head-on confrontation.
And if the pressure becomes truly unbearable, if the conflict gets way too emotionally intense for them, they will deploy their ultimate defense, the Stonewall. Complete and total emotional withdrawal. No response. Nothing.
But the idea on this slide is so important to grasp. For the partner, this silence can feel like a punishment, like the ultimate "I don't care." But it is so crucial to understand that the silence is not empty. It's a desperate defense mechanism. Their strong but slow-to-change nervous system is being completely overwhelmed, just flooded with more emotional information than it can handle. That shutdown is a final, last-ditch effort at self-preservation.
So, knowing all of this, how do we make it work? How do you actually build a relationship that feels like a safe harbor for both of you, for the expressive partner and for the calm, phlegmatic one?
Okay, it really comes down to two essential keys. First, for the partner of the phlegmatic, you have to become a student of the subtle signs. Learn to read their quiet signals, the little hints of discomfort or disagreement, before they feel like they have to shut down completely. Please do not mistake their calm exterior for indifference. If you just keep pushing and pushing for some big emotional reaction, you're going to get the exact opposite of what you want. You'll just make that wall taller. And second, for the phlegmatic person, you have to learn that your partner's emotions are not an attack. That healthy conflict where you actually speak the truth is the real path to a more stable and genuine kind of peace. To truly protect your relationship, sometimes you've got to risk speaking up.
When we really look at the world around us, so full of anxiety and chaos and just constant change, the phlegmatic temperament starts to look less like a problem and more like a profound, stabilizing, incredible gift.
So no, they may not give you the roller coaster of high drama passion. They're probably not going to be the most exciting person at the party. But what they do offer is maybe far more valuable, and it's definitely much, much rarer. They offer consistency. They offer loyalty. In a world that feels like a permanent storm, they offer a safe harbor. And that might just be the most exciting gift of all.